And a good hump day Wednesday to you. Happy Wednesday, July 5th. We've got 38 degrees outside. Maybe some wintry mix coming in tomorrow. We'll have to kind of wait and see where that goes. Glad to have you along this morning. Juju Phillips joined me just a few minutes as we did a little pre-record this morning. So he is back in school. Bill Bender will join us about 8:25, get his perspective on some things. Let me hit a couple of headlines just to get started here and see where we're at for today. Clemson's incoming quarterback, Cade Klubnik, was named National Player of the Year by Max Preps on Tuesday. He took his high school, Westlake, Texas, to their third consecutive state championship. He threw for 3,200 yards, 43 touchdowns, completed over 71% of his passes. Number one rated quarterback threw just 3 interceptions and 265 pass attempts and added 471 yards rushing to go with more than 12 scores. He finished his career undefeated as the starting quarterback, leaves the school as the school's all-time leader in passing and passing touchdowns with 86. Here's some folks that he moved past. Drew Brees, Nick Foles, Sam Ehlinger. He is scheduled. He's the second Clemson signee in the last 4 classes to earn the honor. DJ was also one of those. He is ranked number 114 on ESPN overall, number 7 quarterback, number 21 out of Texas overall. On Rivals, he is number 6 overall, number 1 quarterback, and number 1 player out of Texas. And on 24/7 Sports, he's number 16 overall, number 2 quarterback, number 3 in Texas. My guess would be he's going to be I think you're going to see DJ probably enter the portal. I don't think you see DJ as the starting quarterback for the Tigers next year. I think you'll see a true freshman, much like you did Trevor Lawrence. Now, it could turn out just like DJ did. Same type player. From statistics and awards and that type thing, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see where that goes. Let's see what else we got going on. Chris Winkie, drafted by the Carolina Panthers, played with the Panthers and with San Francisco. 7 years, I think, in the system. He's been named a new quarterbacks coach at Georgia Tech. He spent 6 years with the Toronto Blue Jays before enrolling at Florida State at the age of 25. Played quarterback, won the Heisman, won a national championship in 1999. The problem was, and he came into the league, he's almost 30 years old. I always liked him. I don't think he got a fair shake. That was bad in the really bad days, 2001 to 2006, when he was with the Carolina Panthers. Not that these days are a whole lot better, but they are what they are. Baker Mayfield, he has decided to shut it down for the season. No chance of playoffs, no reason to do it. Mayfield will be having surgery as soon as possible on his non-throwing shoulder. He's played through injuries all year. Some of the talk I heard yesterday is the Browns really just need to say, look, this has been a disaster year. He's played through injuries. We can't do a real evaluation. I think he's scheduled for $18.7 million next year. I think Baker needs to take that sign, play another year, and see what happens. But he will not play against the Bengals. Head coach Kevin Stefanski said that the surgery could happen as soon as this week. He could be back in time to participate in OTAs, which usually take place in May or June. There again, non-throwing shoulder, okay? Mayfield admitted himself he's pretty beat up from the season. They're 7-9, completely eliminated from the playoffs. They did win. He quarterbacked Cleveland to his first playoff victory last season for the first time in 26 years, but has struggled since suffering the shoulder injury. And I want to say week 3 or 4. It was early in the season, if I'm not mistaken. He finished the season with the 26th rating in the league in QBR at 35.2. It'll be interesting to see. He's under contract through the 2022 season, and the Browns have already exercised their 5th-year option on his rookie deal, which would be that $18+ million that he is scheduled to make. So Baker Mayfield shutting it down. Not surprised. There's no reason for him to continue on at this point. Let's see. Washington football team. The WFT is set to unveil a new nickname on February the 2nd. I don't know. I haven't seen anything on what it could possibly be. Co-CEO Tanya Snyder, which there's 8 possibilities that could come out of one of these 8. It could be the final 8 candidates are the Armada, the Presidents, the Brigade, the Red Hogs, the Commanders, Commanders, the Red Wolves, Defenders, and football team. I got to be honest with you, none of those really get me excited. And if you're a Washington fan, which I am not, you want to make sure that you're on board with that as well. And I'm assuming that on all of these, they've already taken the precautions or had the foresight to go out there and see if they couldn't sew up trademark rights on some of those things, because you don't want to get into a situation where you unveil a mascot and then you got to go fight somebody for the rights to that name. I don't think that will happen, but we'll see. We talked a little bit yesterday about you've got to have records in separate eras. Cooper Kupp was right saying that he needs to have an asterisk by his record this year because he had another game. If you'll remember, I think when you go back and look at Jim Brown, O.J. Simpson, those guys only played a 12-game season. Went from 12 to 14 to 16 to 17. Somewhere you've got to have a deciding factor because that's just not going to work out. It's not fair to those that have set it up beforehand. So just another little topic there for you. Juju's going to join me here on the other side, and we'll be back in just a moment. Get some thoughts from Juju, then Bill Bender just down the road.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Back. Glad to have you here on a Hump Day Wednesday. A little different weather this morning. We got upper 30s for our temperatures, but maybe some wintry weather coming in. How was the weather on Monday up in Hickory, Juju Phillips?
It was pretty good, Lanny. We did get, a few, for about 30 to 45 minutes. We got a little bit of snow, and then after that, things kind of died down. The rain came back again, and then things cleared out by the afternoon. Then yesterday, very, very cold in the morning, but It's normal, typical, I guess, early January weather, and that's better than the 70, 75 degrees that we had last week.
A lot of people would disagree with that, but I wouldn't, because I like that. I don't want 70 degrees in January, because the other part about it, that 70 degrees in January is far different from that 70 degrees you get in April and May.
Yes, it is, and that leads, I think, sometimes to, sniffles and different things like that. It just doesn't. My body is just not made for that kind of weather, that warm weather. And I guess, at some point in time, we all age a little bit, and if we ever decide to be lucky enough, fortunate enough to say move to Florida or a warmer weather place, I don't know if my body could put up with 70 and 80 degrees in January, but that's a nice problem to have. But again, I think it was abnormal that it was 70, 75 last week. It's good to be back to normal a little bit this week as we approach the first full week in January.
It's one of those things to where we kind of have those wintry swings. I mean, that's a North Carolina thing. I saw somebody posted on Facebook. So you don't think you can get all 4 seasons in a 24-hour period? Well, just hold my beer, because that's kind of the way it is. What you got going on in your world, sir?
Football's still follow the football side of it. I think I told you earlier this week, Lanny, that with Lenore Ryan, head football coach Mike Jacobs been busy with recruiting, getting some players to commit with signing day coming up next month, and also getting some transfers. Transfers reporting in next week for classes, getting enrolled early. They got a transfer offensive lineman from Campbell University, transfer defensive end from Barton, Division II Barton, who led the South Atlantic Conference in sacks last year. So they're going to upgrade the front lines a little bit through the transfer portal. And then they were in line for a quarterback, a Division I quarterback, but that kind of fell through. He signed with, or he committed to, and enrolled with Dallas Baptist. And now the Bears, according to some people within the program, say they don't have a number 1 quarterback on the roster right now. And so they either are going to go out and maybe pull up a recruit or go through the transfer portal or try to develop somebody that they don't think is on the roster to get better. But that's a big question going in, because they've lost their number 1 quarterback, Grayson Willingham, to graduation and whatnot, and they don't have any. And a couple of other quarterbacks have transferred out, so they don't really have a number 1, or another one has graduated. And so they don't really have one that they have, a lot of experience with heading into the spring and then heading into 2022.
And I also saw, not athletic related, but Lenore Ryan's pushed back the start of classes a week also.
Yeah, I guess they're worried about, like a lot of other schools, with this virus going on, or the flu, or whatever you want to call it, and they push back classes. And I saw it, Lanny. I didn't read it really closely. Are they still going to have the, I guess, online classes, or are they just pushing back everything?
It looked like they were pushing back everything 1 week and then would evaluate again. I know that Charlotte, the Charlotte 49ers, are going virtual for like the first 3 weeks, I think. And then I also know that they have limited outside access to their basketball games, basically to family, at least in the near future.
Wow. That's it's going to be, for a lot of schools, that's going to be a big hit financially. And then you told kids for the last however many months, get vaccinated, stay safe. And now they've done that for the most part, and now you're going to say, we're still not going to have you come back. You kind of wonder for how many schools they're going to say, let me go someplace else, or just take my classes online, or go to a community college.
Yeah. Yep.
Save money.
And that's where they're going to have to start making some decisions, because they're going to start missing some money. You're right about that.
There's not that big government money coming down the pike like there was last year.
No. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place, but it's having that ripple effect through everything, not just athletics, but also through through the academic side as well. I saw a story that broke yesterday that I thought was quite interesting. Former Heisman Trophy winner Chris Winkie was a Carolina Panther backup quarterback for a while, won a national championship at Florida State, Heisman Trophy winner, was named Georgia Tech's quarterback coach yesterday.
Well, I wonder why Georgia Tech. There's some other
I can tell you.
Okay.
There's a connection, just like with everything. It's relationships, and connections. But the new offensive line coach and assistant head coach worked with him at Alabama when he was at Alabama. But, Chris Winkie used to be the director of football operations at IMG Academy, worked with a lot of top-notch quarterbacks. And I didn't realize that he stayed 7 seasons in the NFL. And he was old. I hate to say that, but he was older than college age when he came out. Because didn't he play baseball or something for a while and then come back to school?
Yeah, he played baseball, minor league baseball with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay.
For a number of years. And I think when the Panthers drafted him and got him, I think he was in his early 30s.
I couldn't remember. I know he was at least in his late. He was in his late 20s, 28 or better. I'll look that up and see. But he has been. He didn't do as well actually out there playing, but he was. He has worked with a lot of folks and developed some quarterbacks over the years.
Yeah, it sounds like that maybe he's found his niche and might be one of those. Late bloomers, fast risers in the world of college coaching. Depends on if he wants to, take on a job being a quarterback's coach. Obviously, he's done that before, but we'll see if he wants to later on become a coordinator. But again, I think that's probably a good hire by Georgia Tech coming off the season that they had, and they're still trying to find their identity as well as a college football program. Lanny, you said something that kind of, and I forgot to mention it earlier. And you and I went back and forth on this week. But the other thing, LR related, that caught my eye was a friend of mine who is a writer for FootballScoop.com sent me a text Monday night, said that Lenoir-Rhyne coach Mike Jacobs was a finalist for the Valdosta State job, which was open until the weekend, until they named the new head coach. But he was a finalist. And I thought that was kind of surprising. He's been at LR for 2 years. But when you look at Valdosta, they hired a defensive coordinator or a former defensive coordinator and a head coach from Colorado, Division II Colorado Mesa, to come and be the head coach at Valdosta State in Georgia. He's going to come all the way across the country. And I just thought that was kind of an interesting hire, and the fact that LR's head coach Mike Jacobs was in the mix as one of the finalists, wanting to bolt LR and go to what is probably the 1 or 2 best jobs in all of Division II football.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, Jude. You do, and I know all these guys have agents. They're not actually out there doing it unless they call them in for an interview. But I'm assuming that because of the volatile way that college football works now, not just for coaches but players as well, I'm assuming that they always keep their name out there in a pot just in case.
Well, these agents and agencies, they are, I'll call them headhunters.
Yeah.
But you're right. They probably do. And, the Valdosta State job came open the middle of December. It was the day after that, and I'm sure it's probably a few extra days. Word kind of travels fast. But they announced the Valdosta State job was open the day after the national championship game that they lost, like December 15th, in the middle of December. And now they wait, 2.5 weeks before they name the head coach. So I'm sure the process goes along quite a bit. And you're right. I suspect that the agents or agency or headhunters, whoever do this kind of thing, know which jobs are coming open. The coaching fraternity is pretty tight. They word of mouth probably travels very quickly. So I'm sure that this kind of thing they knew all along, and I'm sure he probably had an interview via Zoom. I'm sure he didn't get in his car or fly and go down to Valdosta State, but I'm sure the way things are now, they probably had a Zoom interview, and maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but at least he showed some interest, according to the sources at Football Scoop, that Mike Jacobs showed interest in the Valdosta State job.
How do those type things affect recruiting?
Well, apparently, you'd think it would, but in terms of what LR has been doing, they've been, if you follow along social media, like I said earlier, they got a couple of transfers, and they keep getting some commits, verbal commits. Now, they can't officially sign until February, but they got a verbal commit from an offensive lineman from East Surrey, whose dad played at Lenore-Ryan. They got an offensive lineman commit from Hickory High School, Jake Prince, and they got some others as well. They got about a half a dozen. They got a wide receiver from Tennessee. So it hasn't affected recruiting if you follow the social media aspect. It's just, I don't say it's depressing, but it's kind of, you scratch your head a little bit, and you can't blame a guy for wanting to have a better job. But if this is the case, kind of an odd time to be doing it right in the middle of recruiting, to be looking for a new job at a Division II school.
Have the players become more accustomed to this is the new way, and that if you're going to fill positions by the portal, there's not that, how do I put this, there's not that whining and dining that used to go on through recruiting?
There's still that.
I mean, you're selling starting positions if you're going through the portal, to me.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And that is one way of doing it, but we're talking about high school recruits. They still have their visits this month. In fact, I think they probably got Division II schools and other schools have big visits this weekend and for the next 3 weekends in January. So before they have, I think, like a week, maybe a dead period leading up to signing day in early February. But Lanny, I think a lot of these high school kids like to take their visits, and they like to get their pictures taken, and they get the backdrops and posing for pictures with the chains and all the stuff that you see on social media. They still do that quite a bit, and LR is right in the middle of it. You see a lot of this stuff posted on social media that these kids come in for their visits, or they say, we appreciate, thank you for the offer, enjoyed my visit to wherever this weekend. So I don't think that has ever stopped, but now we're just seeing, with so many players moving, it's right in the middle of recruiting season if you're in Division II looking to leave, or at least inquiring to leave and leave the program, which, again, is a little bit of a head-scratcher.
Let me get your take on this. I heard this yesterday. It was reported that Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback, earned over $1.3 million in NIL this year. Thoughts?
Congratulations. Well done, young man. Now go hire a CPA and pay your taxes, right?
Yeah. How long before scholarships fall under that taxable window and Uncle Sam wants his part?
Hey, I'm telling you. Why not? That's a good point.
I mean,
why do you need scholarships?
Yeah, it's happening. I think you're going to see some changes come down, and everybody's not going to be happy about it, because the thing that's going to happen is that will be a blanket rule about, let's say, taxable scholarships, and these players that ain't getting NIL going to get hit.
Yeah, and then, if you're looking at some of these programs, these kids have these opportunities to make money. Why offer it? Why have a scholarship for them in the first place? Take that scholarship and give it to somebody else that you can do that. I'm sure the bigger programs that can afford it are probably going to start doing that if they haven't done it already. Yeah,
but it's gonna. I always said you had to be careful what you did. There are effects, and the biggest part of it is, I always talk about that pendulum swinging from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, for example, just to give you a visual. It can't stop at 6. So from being up here where everything was under the table and kids were getting money, we need to get on the table, it swings. There's not a college player out there that needs $1.3 million for a year for NIL. I'm sorry. That's fact.
No, you're right. And there are unintended consequences that we just don't know what'll happen. I can't imagine I mean, it's not even in my purview, Lanny, of being a 19-year-old in college, knowing that I have $1.3 million in the bank, or however much, even if it's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Having that much money in the bank, I was just happy to get a $20 bill in the mail from mom and dad,
Yeah.
or maybe $50 for the month in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that was great. Or, getting a part-time job and, making 40 or 50 bucks at a spot, and then say, wow, okay, I'm good for the next month or so with my spending money. But to have over $1 million at 19, I can't imagine it.
And that's not going to be tax-free.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's got to figure that out, and that's where I think the sticky point comes from.
Yeah.
Anything else you got on your mind, sir?
No, Lanny, I'm sure you'll have more talk with Bill, and I think I sent you a text yesterday about some good questions to ask him with Jim Harbaugh. I was thinking about the Carolina Panthers and what's going to happen with them. If they right now they have their last place team for the second year in a row, which means they're going to have a really easy schedule or a light schedule. They're going to play all the last place teams in the NFL. It's going to be interesting. I guess they're going to be in the top 6 or top 7 right now in the NFL draft. There are 4 offensive linemen that are highly ranked tackles that they should go after. One's from Alabama, one's from NC State, one's from Mississippi State, and the other is from Iowa. Mm-hmm. They're all sophomores or juniors. So if the Panthers go that way, they got this apparently is going to be a good draft for offensive linemen, at least for tackles, according to some of these NFL experts. Last year was not. This year it is. So if the Panthers are going to pick 6th or 7th or 5th, they need to go after an offensive lineman this year more than any other year, in my opinion.
Yeah. I get mystified and amazed every time the draft comes around. That's all I'll say.
Mystified. It's the kid from NC State who's a sophomore,
mm-hmm.
and I can't pronounce his name, but he is, they say, one tough hombre, and he's got a mean streak in him, and he plays left tackle. And if he's available at number 5 or number 6, I got to grab him.
Well, the problem with that is it makes sense. So we all know where that's going to go.
Yes.
Have a good day, sir, and look forward to catching you back here in the studio next week.
You betcha. Thank you, Lanny.
Thanks, man. Have a great day. We'll take a time out and be back with more here on The Bottom Line.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. As always, we appreciate Juju's time. Katie's Kate joined us here in the studio, but that's okay. We're going to head to our phone lines and bring our next guest on. You catch him every week right here from Sporting News, Bill Bender. Bill, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Any surprises from the bowl season for you? Things pretty well go as you thought they would, or?
Yeah, we got through it with a couple cancellations, but I think, the New Year's Day 6 was fun. The Rose Bowl was a lot of fun. Viewership was good. We get an all-SEC championship game. That's not a huge surprise to me, but maybe a little bit about how easily Georgia made it look against Michigan.
Yeah. I was disappointed in that.
If Michigan is to take the next step now, it's to get the elite talent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the rub, because you looked at the rosters and Georgia had 19 five-star guys and Michigan had 3, and Georgia was clearly motivated from their last loss, and I guess that's what it looks like. There wasn't much to it.
Does the showing that Michigan had in making the playoffs and the loss for Ohio State, which was a great game, Rose Bowl was packed, probably only bowl game that was packed, that was non-playoff. Does Michigan take a step, maybe nudge a little ahead of Ohio State?
I think Ohio State will be ranked ahead of them, just based on winning the Rose Bowl, even if it was close, and the talent they got coming back around C.J. Stroud, they'll probably be ranked a little bit higher. But Michigan made their point. They've got a roster that's going to compete in the Big Ten now, and I think, and there was a reason why Jim Harbaugh wasn't all that disappointed. It's because that was the next step for them to get to the playoffs. Now their next step is to win a playoff game, and there's a progression to it, and he's going to need to build the talent necessary to do it.
One of the questions that's out there, Bruce Feldman tweeted it. It may have been yesterday or day before yesterday. Is Harbaugh, could he be considering a return to the NFL? I would say that if he wants to go back to the NFL, that window is starting to shorten a little bit. Maybe he looks at it that he got enough accomplished in college with what he did this year. And another name that keeps popping up is possibly Ryan Day leaving college football. Your thoughts?
I don't think either of them will leave, but in Day's case, there's no reason to. You had a 10-3 team, you got 3 top 5 classes. They're set up for success for as long as he's there, and as long as he continues to recruit the way he does. So, and then Harbaugh, I guess he could consider it, but I still think, I haven't heard anything from that. He was a really good NFL coach, and he did leave Michigan in a good spot, but, this is a guy that I think he's going to see it through and see what happens. But, wouldn't rule it out with Harbaugh. I think of the two, more likely to go in this cycle, but I still don't think either one of them will.
Yeah, and that would start that but the domino effect of coaches if one of those top coaches did happen to leave. One of the things that I think Harbaugh, like Steve Spurrier, like Nick Saban and others, are more fitted for the college environment because all of those guys are pretty much tough, in control guys, and you don't have that same kind of reign in the professional leagues.
True, and Harbaugh, I always tell people, 44-19-1 as a college coach. It's not like he did a bad job in that environment, but it was a short stint. His way is a little bit different, but with the Niners, he was very successful. It was just butting heads with the GM, and I think that's with him. That's what you got to watch. Now, in Michigan, he hasn't butted heads with the AD. They've played together. They've been, if anything, those two have a really strong relationship, and that won't change.
One of the topics that came up over the weekend that's just been a hot topic, media fodder, I guess you would call it. Kirk Herbstreit had some strong words that came out about players opting out of their bowl games, and there's been a lot of folks on both sides. I can see both sides, and especially with the way the importance of the bowl games have kind of went to the wayside as things go. Your thoughts on what he had to say about maybe some of those players did not love the game?
It's tough. I think Kirk, they have a point, like Kirk and Desmond, that they come from that old school, and it was a little bit different. I just, with opt-outs, to me, there's no easy answer for college football for this. And I say that in terms of, if you say, he should opt out, then you have to accept, Pitt, for example, without Kenny Pickett, they're trying to lead a last-minute drive with a third-string quarterback. Ole Miss loses Matt Corral, and that changes the entire Sugar Bowl. So that's part of it, and then the other part is it is their decision, though, and there are risks in playing in the bowl game. So I don't know. Lanny, I think I don't have a strong take on it, other than there's just not an easy answer for it.
Well, when you look at Kenny Pickett, you had a third-string quarterback because the second-string quarterback got hurt early. That could have been Kenny Pickett. And that could have had an impact on his draft status. So I get that. The other thing that I heard on Saturday, and I'm not sure what media member it was, but came out and said, let's move the bowl games, kind of like the Chick-fil-A kickoff game that they have. Let's have the bowl games the first game of the season with premier schools, premier talent early. It won't hurt you if you pick up a loss there as much as going down. Go to a bigger playoff system, and you still get to keep the bowls. You just don't have them at the end when people have other things on their mind.
I mean, that's an idea. I mean, certainly that could be something that they look at. But I think they're going to have to keep the bowl system as is. It's just a matter of how do you make the New Year's Day 6 are the ones that we pay the most attention to. I mean, you said it about the Rose Bowl. I mean, Ohio State was short 24 guys, and it was still one of the best games that you could possibly watch of the whole cycle. Notre Dame was missing some guys, and that game was a lot of fun. So, I mean, yeah, the value of the game, if the value is to have entertainment, we're still getting that. It's just tough when our players sit out. But the other part, Lanny, when people are using Matt Corral as the reason why you can opt out of bowl games, well, Matt Corral made it pretty clear he wanted to play. And if we're being honest about it, it's just a sprain. So he's going to be fine getting ready for the NFL draft.
No, I agree. And it needs to be an individual. I heard Carson Palmer earlier this week, and he said not only did he play in his bowl game, he played in the Senior Bowl and didn't need it. But he wanted to play. He wanted to compete against those guys that were projected to be at the same level that he was. And he's not old as I am, and I'm older than Herb Street. So, you know, when you look at it, there is some old school there, but you also got to take care of yourself as well. So I'm like you. I don't have a hard line stance on it because it's about an individual and their future and their family and those type things. So I really kind of understand. Let me switch to the NFL a little bit. What are you thinking we're going to see from this 17th game? Is it going to be just the 16th game with one more added where not a lot of drama? There's a couple of games that have meaning, but not a tremendous amount.
No, I mean, yeah, the most of the seeding has been determined, and I mean that Chargers Raiders game is going to be a lot of fun. Figuring out if San Francisco can slip in, some seeding. I mean, I know the NFC is pretty well set, but I think what the value of a Week 18 is not going to be as exciting as usual. But what they've created in return is a very exciting wild card weekend next weekend. And for college football's sake, I mean, college football doesn't have to go up against that. When they have to go up against the wild card or division weekend, it's not good. So, NFL playoffs are going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of good teams. I know up here a lot of people are excited about the Bengals and Joe Burrow and everything they've done the last 2 weeks.
If you had to pick your two teams for the Super Bowl right now, who would you pick?
The easy pick is Kansas City and Green Bay. That was last year. I think Green Bay looks good. They look good. They're at home. One of the keys, I mean, for all the talk about Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, one of the good things they have going for them is being at home and the emergence of A.J. Dillon. If it's cold, nobody wants to tackle a 240-pound running back in the second half. So, I think that'll continue to build. But, I mean, I'd keep an eye on the Bengals and the Titans if they get Derrick Henry back. But even the Patriots with Mac Jones, I mean, Belichick back in the playoffs. But, the Chiefs at home are going to be a tough out.
Yeah, and I agree. Any coaching changes that you think are kind of no-brainers in the NFL just as soon as we finish, like next Monday?
Well, I keep an eye on the Vikings and Bears. I mean, those are two. Jacksonville obviously is already going to fill theirs, and we're going to find out who takes Urban Meyer's spot. There'll be a couple more. The Giants will be interesting to see if they move on. They have had just a miserable time scoring. But if there's some patience with Joe Judge, it'll be interesting to see if they do that. But it'll be interesting on my end to see which college coaches might consider those jobs.
Right.
And you mentioned Harbaugh and Day, but they're not the only two that'll probably be considered.
No, you're exactly right. And I'm still thinking there's going to be there'll be at least 8 openings. There's already 1. I think there'll be 6 to 7 more. That's just pretty common. Last year we didn't have as many because of the virus, and everybody kind of gave them a pass, but I don't think that's going to be the case this time.
No, and you're right. And I think even though that's a factor in the NFL, it's it's a reality that they call it Black Monday for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There'll definitely be a handful of changes, and when you have 30, you could have up to 30 FBS changes and 8 NFL changes. I mean, what a profession.
Yeah. Final question: if the Cowboys don't go deep, is Mike McCarthy looking for work?
No, he'll be fine.
Okay.
I think the pressure. Actually, think there's going to end up being more pressure on Dak in this playoff run. The way he's playing, coming off of getting a big contract. Yeah, he possibly could be comeback player of the year, but Cowboys last week were off enough to the point it reminded you that, man, they could get in there and get one and done, and you never know,
Mm-hmm.
or they could go on a deep run. McCarthy's coaching a lot of playoff games, and as a Packers fan, I don't know if I want to see him in Lambeau Field.
Well, that you could have that matchup too. Bill Bender, Sporting News, as always, we appreciate it. Hope you're having a happy New Year, my friend, and look forward to talking with you again soon.
Hey, Landon, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
man.
buddy.
Take care.
Appreciate it. And that's Bill Bender, Sporting News. I always like to get his take. And there will be Black Monday next Monday. Short break, back to wrap it up.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. At Steeple Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call Full Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Steeple Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Welcome back. Got to have you here on a hump day Wednesday. A little cloudy outside, still 37 degrees is what I'm showing. Folks that's joined us here this morning, Bill Klein, Andrew Royals. He's in us, watching us in from High Point. Good morning to you, sir. Milton, you're right. Carolina trade away all their draft picks. That's what they do. Brandon Eichert, good morning to you. He said that they've Presbyterian, the Blue Hose, has hired a new coach. That was the coach they fired because he wouldn't punt, if I'm not mistaken. He always went forward on fourth down. Bill Lovingood, good morning. Be safe out there, my friend. Let's take a look at a few things in sports history today. Just scroll through the list here, maybe, if my computer will cooperate. It doesn't always cooperate, but there we go. Sometimes it takes it a little bit to kind of get involved with me. 1957, Dodgers' Jackie Robinson announces his retirement rather than be traded to the New York Giants. I didn't realize that was today. The body of former heavyweight boxing champ Charles Sonny Liston at the age of 40 is found by his wife Geraldine at Las Vegas home. He had been dead for almost 6 days. Foul play was suspected. I don't remember that ever being settled, which doesn't surprise me at all, especially that kind of time. 1989, baseball signs a $400 million with ESPN, showing 175 games in 1990. J. Donald Trump was appointed the 8th commissioner of the CFL in 1990 as well. Reggie Jackson was elected to the Hall of Fame on this day in 1993. 1996, Miami Dolphin head coach Don Shula announces his retirement. Hard to believe that's, 26 years ago? 2007, the Chin, Bill Cowher, resigns as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He always gets to tell everybody no when there's an opening in the world of professional football. 2010, Mike Shanahan, formerly introduced as the head coach of the Washington Redskins. I'm not saying football team because they weren't. In that year, they were the Washington Redskins, any way you look at it. All right, let's see if we got any birthdays or anything else in sports here. Flip through. Pistol Pete Maverich passed away on this day in Atlanta of a heart attack at age 40. I think he was playing a pickup game, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was right. Tug McGraw, the father of Tim McGraw, passed away on this day in 2004 at the age of 59. And I didn't realize he had been gone that long. Where does time go? That's one of those amazing things. Before you know it, many, many years pass. Here again, we'll take a look, see if we've got some birthdays. Chuck Noll, the great Chuck Noll, born on this day in 1932. He was an NFL coach with the Steelers, was born in Cleveland, Ohio. Passed away in 2014. Jim Otto, the great NFL center, was born on this day in 1938, played for the Oakland Raiders. Wausau, Wisconsin is where he was born. If I'm not mistaken, he had some of the biggest knees from just damage that he had done over the years. I think that was right. I kind of remember that. Sam White, who passed away last year, was born on this day in 1945, was with the Bengals from 84 to 91, the Bucks 92 to 95. He was the one that introduced the no-huddle offense, according to what they say. How about the great Mercury Morris, born in Pittsburgh, PA in 1947. Did not realize that either. Rick Tootin, American punter, born in 1965 for the Seattle Seahawks. Let's see. We're getting too young. Nope, that'll do it for what we've got. Some birthdays, some passings, all those type things for today. It's going to be time for me to get out of here. I've got some painting got to be done. I got to go meet the painters. Have a great Wednesday. I'm hoping that Thor got off the mountain, and he'll be headed back down this way. He'll be with us in the morning. I hope you can join us as well. Anything breaks, I'll try to keep you up on it, and we'll see you in the morning. Have a great day. Be safe out there.